Time to do our morning show.
Wonder how this will go.
Come and watch two guys grow old. These are the days.
If we get a YouTube ban,
We'll just stream on D Live then. Mr. We could
Week
use a man like Donald Trump again. I live in a redneck state.
everybody here's irate.
Man, this intro sure sounds great.
These are
the
days.
Good morning, Boomer Bunker. Monday, October 18th. Living up to my middle school nickname of Short Circuit, I am Boomer Bob, here with the man who doesn't pump his own water, John J. Jamingo.
How's it going, Bob?
You ever pump your own water?
Yeah, actually, I did. Yes, I have. I have. We used to have a well when I was a kid, and we had horses. We had horses, and we had one of those pumps. You know, like the old back in the day, Little House on the Prairie pumps. That's how you used to get the water for the horses. You used to pump the water, and so yes, I have pumped my own water.
But now you get it delivered.
I have that. I have that done too. Why is my voice cracking?
Did your balls drop yet?
I thought they did. Matter of fact, when I sat on the toilet this morning, I think I had a splashdown. Just kidding.
That's terrible when it happens in a public toilet.
Oh,
You just want to chop them off right there. You just want to. You know what? I can sing falsetto. I'll be fine.
The thing is, every once in a while, you try to give a courtesy flush. If you go in there and there's people in there, you just don't want to try to stick it up. So you give a courtesy flush, and then all of a sudden you get a ball washing. Not a good look.
And a splash butt.
Yep.
Butt gets all splashed.
That's right.
You ever been in a porta-john with the blue water and be dropping bombs and then it splashes up and hits you in the butt?
That I haven't had, Bob.
You wonder if your butt cheek just turned blue from the splashes.
Good Monday morning, everybody.
Hey, nothing like poop talk.
Nothing like a little poop talk on a Monday morning.
It worked for Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy. So I don't know why I stopped in the middle. I'm like, is that his last name?
Murphy.
I just
we're at that age where we start forgetting. We're at that age where we stop forgetting stuff.
That's exactly what was going through my head. Smurf ass. Getting the blue water splashed on you. Yes,
Smurf ass.
Yes. So didn't sleep well, so may not be 100% coherent. Hence why I said I'm going to live up to my middle school nickname of Short Circuit.
Okay. You know what? Yesterday was a horrible day for NFL for me because my Eagles didn't play. They got their asses beat Thursday night.
They put up a decent fight. They're a bunch of noobs,
It is. The coach is horrible. The guy, I could call a better game plan than that guy does. It's ridiculous. You know what he's going to do? He's going to throw a screen to the left. He's going to try to run once, and then they're going to try to throw down the field, and then they punt. That's the Eagle offense.
Yeah.
Did Bama win again this week?
Well, yeah. I mean, they were playing like a community college. I think it was Ole Miss.
Okay. All right. So they did win.
Yeah. I was cruising through like Twitter, and over the weekend I was bored, and I seen some new podcast like, hey, I got a new podcast. Go to www.whatever.com, and I'm like, how excited do you think they got when they were like, when they came up with the podcast name, searched it on like whatever? What do you go to, like Chartable, or you go to Apple Podcasts or something? Where do you search to see if a podcast name is already taken?
I just go into my podcast app, the one that I listen to.
Yeah, and see if there's one active right now. Yeah,
and I just search the name and see if it's active.
How let's say you found one that was made back in 2016, but they haven't done an episode since then. Do you go ahead and we'll go ahead and you take the name? I
would. I mean, something like that has been dropped off and no one's, I look at it, it's been dead for a couple of years. Yeah, I would. And then you've got to go find the URL too. So that's the other part of it.
So I was like, how much joy do they get when they're so excited because they're creating this new podcast, they're all excited, woo, all right, yeah, look, the name's not taken, and then you go and the .com's available. I want to feel that excitement, John, and I've never felt that excitement even when I found that boomerbobshow.com was still available.
You couldn't believe that boomerbobshow.com was still available?
There's other guys out there that have tried to carry the name Boomer Bob. I'm the only one that actually wears it well.
Yeah. So here's the thing, and I work with a lot of podcasters, so I know what that whole thing. And so what it is they're going to do this podcast, and everybody's going to love their podcast, and they get the artwork, and they're doing social media, and we're going to be launching in 2 weeks, and they go through this whole thing, and then they put a podcast out, and then they go right to the downloads, and they think, oh my God, I'm waiting for the downloads, and nobody knows unless they're, have some kind of fame beforehand. Nobody knows them. How are you going to find, so the first 10 to 25 episodes that you do, if you're doing a weekly podcast, nobody hears because it takes that long to generate some kind of interest. And that's if you can promote it somewhere else. If you can get it, you can promote it through social media. If you go on other podcasts as a guest, and then they talk to their audience, and their audience says, hey, you know what? I think that would be a pretty cool podcast. Let me go over and check it out. Then you'll start to see something, but it takes a while. Now, because there's so many podcasts, when I first started podcasting in 2012, there was about 300,000 podcasts on Apple Podcast.
Right.
Back in the day, we called it iTunes, but it was Apple Podcast. And that when they were like, the best time to start one was like 2008. But now that you haven't, now's the best time to start one. And then all of a sudden, it just, because it's easy to do, podcasting just took off. And when I say it's easy to do poorly. In other words, you don't need as much tech as you needed back in 2012.
Right.
Now you need a phone. You can basically take your smartphone, go to Anchor, and make a podcast. That's how easy it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you do need the ability to read.
No, you don't. You need the ability to speak.
I thought you had to read the little Anchor ad copy if you.
I don't know if you do.
Or is that if you wanted to get paid? I've never used Anchor, so I always thought you had to read their little ad thing on your show to get the free RSS feed.
Now you do not, because the remnants of Rubberneckers, the first 6 episodes, are over on Anchor as a podcast.
Yeah, well, that's Rubberneckers. I mean, who wouldn't welcome that for free on their platform? Well, have you ever told just a random stranger, say you're at like a grocery store or hardware store or something like that, and you just, for some reason, it came up? Yeah, like you walked up to them and they were minding their own business. Hey, I got a podcast. But, you start talking about, the prices of things these days, right? Yeah, we talked about that on my podcast the other day.
I don't do that anymore because it's so cheesy.
But you have done it. Yeah. I did it once, but the guy was asking for it.
Oh. Now, I've done it where I said, someone were talking, and they'll say to me, well, what do you do? What do you do? And I said, well, I do podcasting. And they go, well, how do you do that? It's like, if I said I was a surgeon, how do you do that? You get a scalpel, you find some patient, you start cutting. It's the same thing with podcasting, or what we do. And then everybody's a critic. Everybody's a critic. So no matter what you do, they sit there and they look at it and they stare at it, and then they want to tell you, what you're doing wrong. And I'm saying, okay, well, when you get out there and put a show out, then come back and talk to me. So, I mean, even people who do have podcasting.
Think, well, what would be a scenario where you just, for some reason, it comes up that it's a perfect time to tell a random stranger in a grocery store about your show?
Never.
Well, no, you're like hanging out and you're talking, looking at the bare aisles going, man, where's all the Capri Sun, right? There's none. What am I going to tell my kid, right? Well, then you go, well, I shared this meme on my podcast the other day.
Okay.
See this full aisle right here? Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, they put like basic wallpaper over it.
I
So
wonder.
the shelves look like they're stocked.
Well, isn't that? Did you ever watch that movie? I forget what it was called. Where they went to North Korea.
Now I know what you're talking about. It's
but
with
they would drive
I keep calling that guy Joe Rogan, but it's not.
Seth Rogen.
Right, Seth Rogen.
Yeah. Well, they would drive by, little stores there, and it would look like this. This one here, the one that's fake, and that's kind of what this meme or this actual image kind of reminded me of was that is like that. That's what it's like in North Korea, I guess. I don't know.
Oh yeah, there's no food in North Korea. No. Remember, there's a woman, Yeomi Park, who
not a flat.
Oh my Lord! Hold on, something happened. I don't know what happened here. I clicked something and it's going.
That's a lie that they're.
Oh my God!
It's not a mistake. Yeah, they're
So Bob's got to turn off his. So he's got to turn off. So anyhow, Yeomi Park, she was like 13 and she escaped from North Korea into China, sold into sex slavery. Then she escaped from China into Mongolia. She took a plane into South Korea. And then she ended up over here in the United States, went to Columbia University. And now she tours the United States and talks about, what's going on and what's actually going on in North Korea.
Right.
So to me, it's an amazing story. And it's funny because what they do there is they starve the people. That's how they keep them under control. And it's starting to feel weird now that you go into a grocery store and there's no bread. Like the other day, I went into just a mom and pop store, right, and there was no bread. And they said, "Yeah, we can't get bread. We can't get. It's getting ridiculous." And the reason that their bread sold out is because there's no bread in the supermarket. So people go, "Well, I'll just go over to this. They'll have bread." And now that's sold out. So basically, with the supply lines, we're having issues getting food, and now they're talking about you're not going to be able to get meat anymore. And if you can get it, it's too expensive. You can't afford it. So,
well, our idiot in chief said that he has hit up all the big, the big powers that be about working longer hours, getting those ports running 24/7, 365. And it's like, all of the ports in California are unionized and they don't have to do that shit. Like,
well, okay, I get that part of it, but here's the other thing. Our transportation secretary, Pete Buttigieg, he has been off the past 2 months in all of this because him and his husband have 2 new babies that they have to take care of.
I saw that one.
And he is in the middle of all this.
Do you really think he could fix anything anyway? The dude couldn't fix South Bend, Indiana, let alone.
He couldn't fill a pothole?
No. Maybe a butthole.
Yeah, well, I have a video here I'd like to share. And I think it'll explain most of this.
Hello, useless eaters. As your unqualified, non-elected global human health overlord, I'd like to take this opportunity to flaunt my position of power and influence over society and share some of my plans for you and your future. When I amassed my fortune in computer software, I demonstrated that I was willing to lie, steal code, cheat my partners, and exercise monopolistic control to destroy my competitors. Now that I've retired, I can rebrand myself as a humanitarian. With my for-profit foundation masquerading as a charity, I can advocate for population reduction and sponsor mass human experiments with unproven vaccines in vulnerable populations. Like my father, a powerful banker, eugenicist, and Rockefeller crony himself, it's always been my ambition to decide who lives and, more importantly, how many have to die.
There you go. That's your buddy. Bill
He
Gates.
is my buddy. I love it when he goes, his daughter got married.
I is really weird. And she married a Muslim guy. So basically, the pictures you're seeing here, this is the second wedding. The day before, they had a Muslim wedding. So will she have to wear? Will she have to wear that?
Where was a
The
goat involved?
dashiki? What's that?
Was a goat involved in that one?
I don't know. I don't know that much about Muslim. Where's Farthy when you need him?
I was just being racist. Yeah, Fathy.
Fathy, where's Fathy at when you need him?
I think you ran him off.
No, he messaged me and he said no, he enjoyed the show and nothing I said offended him, which was a shock.
I think the gown was Vera Wang.
Was it really?
Yes. What do you notice though? I mean, besides the,
well, I noticed that the pictures are really, really far away because the paparazzi had to be.
What do you think it costs to get all these chads up here holding cameras?
It doesn't matter.
Wait a minute. Isn't this climate change right here with all these propane powered heaters?
It could be. It might have been a little chilly in Connecticut. You can't have your.
No, they had windstorms. It wasn't fun. I think this right here. This is a tree that got blown over. See it right here. It's a fake tree.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, even the rich every once in a while, Mother Nature will take down the rich if
they had people to hold umbrellas.
Yeah. Well, I think that's so people can't get pictures.
Oh well, didn't work, did it?
No, somebody got one.
Not a mask in the bunch, homeboy.
No, not a mask.
I'm not seeing a lot of diversity either.
Well, besides the groom.
True. Well, I mean, yeah, that explains a couple of the bridesmaids.
Maybe does it really? I didn't really check. Now, I guess now remember, this is on their property. They own this. I guess it's a farmhouse.
Right.
Or whatever it is. But scroll down and show that one picture of the glass.
Like 400,000 acres of farmland in the middle of the country. So,
he's the biggest landowner. Look at that. That is they just have that. That's just part of the house.
Probably had that erected just for this event.
You got to be kidding me. They made that just for this?
No, I'm joking. I wonder if it's COVID proof.
No, of course it's not COVID proof. Now here we're back to the bridesmaids.
I mean, it is a beautiful wedding. Good for them, But wait a minute, there's the help. There's the diversity and probably masks. I wish they were turned around the other way. I bet you they're masked and
you better believe the filthy help are masked.
Not a cracker in a bunch. So, $2 million wedding, by the way.
$2 million.
$2 million.
Well, at least they're not shooting. At least Bill Gates isn't shooting himself into space like the other trillionaires.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's a valid.
John, they're not actual trillionaires. They're just
good for him. I'm glad it's
100 billionaires.
I'm glad that, at least somebody is getting to enjoy somewhat of a normal life, even though it is a billionaire and his kid. But,
yeah, she's never wanted for nothing, never will. Maybe it's an arranged marriage between him and a Muslim entity that, they can have some kind of business degree,
dowry?
Kind of, sort of, yeah, like an arranged marriage. I mean, how much money do you think it would cost to get a Bill Gates daughter? I mean, that's
no, he's not into, here's our dumbass in chief. This video bothered me.
Okay. Just him bothers me, but go ahead.
We have fewer democracies in the world today than we did 15 years ago. Fewer. Not more, fewer.
Your point, Joe?
Cannot be sustained.
What?
That's why from day one of my administration, I've taken concrete steps to put human rights back at the center of our foreign policy and reassert our moral leadership on the global stage.
Okay, hold it. Stop it. Stop.
It's almost done.
You often heard me say, with the power of our example, not the example of our power. We have
Oops.
Listen, you old addled windbag. You are destroying democracy right now. Look what you're doing with the vaccine mandates and having people fired. And now they want the DOJ to go in and people that complain at school board meetings. Now if they're domestic terrorists. If you don't sit there and comply, then we're going to take you down. This is a bunch of bullshit, and I can't wait for 4 more. I can't wait. Well, I can't wait for the midterm elections, but I certainly can't wait until 2024 to get this asshole out of. Boy, I tell you what, I now know what the people that hated Trump, like really hated Trump. Now I know what they feel like because I hate this guy.
What do you think he meant though by it cannot be sustained?
Yeah, he doesn't think democracy can be sustained. That's what he's saying.
That's what I took out of it, yeah. But maybe I'm biased, No,
and then the other thing is, come on, let's step back and take a look at this. His son's out there selling paintings to who knows what for how much. They've already know that him and Hunter had they had bank accounts together. They were paying,
yes.
Yeah, they were paying bills. They already got him saying that if they don't fire this prosecutor in Ukraine, and then here's the thing is they get him saying this and they say to Trump was the one that had a quid pro quo when
yes
Biden was doing it right there, and everybody's like nope.
It's different. It's different. He has a D next to his name. That's okay then.
I'm so sick of that shit, and
I'm so sick. If you burn down a building or if you loot, as long as you voted D, it's okay. If you have on a MAGA hat and you do that, well, you're going away for a long time.
Well, they had a school shooting down in Texas, and usually, there's all kinds of stories and people talking about it and all this, and you didn't hear too much about that school shooting, did you?
Because of the ethnicity of the shooter.
Yeah, Betty Black.
Wasn't Betty White.
Yeah. Wasn't Betty White.
Wasn't one of the Golden Girls.
No, it was not.
Here's a montage.
Oof.
Shelves in stores all across the country and rising prices for what's in stock.
Let's go, Brandon!
Annual inflation now at a 13-year high. Prices for beef and bacon, used cars, gas, even furniture, all up double digits.
Let's go, Brandon.
In the meantime, experts say Americans should expect to keep paying more, even at the grocery store. Eggs and meat both costing 12% more than a year ago.
Car rentals, they're up already almost 43%.
If you can find one.
Gas, that's true. Gas up 42%. Steak is up 22%. Lodging is up almost 20%. And bacon is up more than 19%.
Let's go, Brandon.
This year has seen record-breaking price jumps for children's shoes, up nearly 12%, furniture up more than 11%, and even going out to dinner will cost you an unprecedented 5% more than last year.
Let's go, Brandon! Let's go, Brandon!
They're not saying let's go, Brandon. They're saying fuck Joe Biden.
Well, they're just pointing at,
No, I mean, let's go, Brandon is.
I know what it's a euphemism for.
Exactly. So they're saying let's go, Brandon. They're basically, I mean, even that is saying that Biden's a horrible president, the worst president. Like I lived through Jimmy Carter and thought he was a horrible president. He makes Jimmy Carter look like Abraham Lincoln. I mean, it's just like it's almost like he was sent in here to destroy the country, and we can't do anything about it. What can we do? We can't throw him out.
I think he's the one pulling I think he's the Ronald McDonald.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because we need to get some, we need to change this. It can be fixed. As fast as they broke it, we can fix it. Who's this dickbag? I'm sorry. Who's this?
You know Waters.
No, I don't. But go ahead.
Were you done? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I'm done. Go ahead. I see.
This is a kind of a long clip, but we don't have to get through all of it. I just want to. He breaks down. They finally put out the 2,000 whatever page spending bill that they can't seem to vote on, and they got a hold of it and they kind of pointed out some things that are in it.
This week, Nancy Pelosi begged the media to help her sell the Democrats' $3.5 trillion tax.
Let me know if you want to pause.
So do you think you need to do a better job at messaging and going forward? How do you sell this if ultimately you have to?
Well, I think you all could do a better job of selling it, to be very frank with you.
Pelosi's asking the media for help, but
Pause.
the media can't say what's actually in this thing, because if they did.
Again, why is it the press is, she's so used to the mainstream media doing her bidding and for everything that they want, that when it's not happening now, of course, it can't be their fault that they're trying to jam a spending bill in with more money that's been ever printed. And do you know that 40%, 42% of all of the money that's ever been printed has been printed in the last 3 years?
No, it's been printed in the last 18 months, but
it's 18 months. I thought it was 3 years.
Since the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah, 18 months. 42% of the money that's out there now was just printed.
Well, they can
be dry yet.
Well, they can do things to reel that money back in, though, too, like what they're doing now. Inflation making things cost more, and all that stuff. There's tricks to it. I'm not an economist. I don't understand how it works, but it is a thing.
But she's sitting there saying, listen, we're so used to you guys taking and selling this shit. Why is it all of a sudden now that we need you to do this and you can't even sell it?
Well, it boils down to this, and I'll bring that back up, but it kind of boils down to this. They'll spend trillions on bills they haven't read, but want details on how you spend $600.
Oh, I know. Because here's the deal.
Also, notice the bottom there. This was a tweet.
Oh my God, these goddamn things. These
on a Lisa Simpson meme.
What? First of all, the thing about this is the mainstream media. This is the mainstream media doing the bidding for the Democratic Party. This is what this is all about. And that's exactly right. In other words, there was how many pages was it? Was it 2,000, almost, it's like 2,500 page bill?
Yes.
How they were going to spend $3 trillion, right? Okay. And nobody's read it yet. And everybody's supposed to vote on it. Who did that? And that's where they put that $600 thing in there. That has to come out. That's bullshit. And the reason it is because they're not going to get any more money out of the rich. That's not going to happen. So where's that money going to come from? Us. It's going to come from us. So what they're doing is they're taking that lemon and they're just squeezing and squeezing and squeezing. This government has to stop spending so much money. It's done. We're done. We can't sustain this anymore. That's what has to happen. We can't sustain this anymore.
So a comment from the wife. She says, all the money ends up back on top in hands of the riches. Well, why do you think they want to help cancel student debt? So all that money, all those billions of dollars can go into the hands of the billionaires who own the loans. It has nothing to do with wanting to relieve individuals of debt. Has nothing to do with that. They just want to put the money in the hands of those.
It's the same thing. It's like when you have your child and your child goes out and buys a car, and then your child can't afford the car. And then the next thing they know, they want you to pay for the car. And you're like, no.
And the gas.
Right. You're like, no, you bought the car. You signed for it. Well, they're going to either sell the car, pay back the loan, or let them take it back. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm not, just because you made a bad decision doesn't mean I'm going to bail you out. Same thing with these student loans. They oh yeah, we'll lend it to you. We'll lend it $100,000 something dollars because it's guaranteed they have to pay it back. They have to pay it back. You can't default on a student loan.
No, because every time you file taxes, if you're getting anything back, they're going to take it from you.
Right. And not only that, but they let wait. And there should only be so much of student debt you can get. That's it. Because there's no way for them to pay it back. And they knew that and they did it anyhow.
Well, I don't know if they do this now, but back when I went in the mid to late 90s, I went when I was in my mid 20s. I could borrow something like, I think my tuition was around $2,500 a term, which was back then was real cheap. I was just going to a local mom and pop college, and they would let me borrow, I think, up to $2,000 above that for, living expenses, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There was one time I actually took advantage of that, in my college career there. I did take advantage of that one time because I was driving a beater car, and it just died on me, and I was working full time. I had a baby that I was taking care of as well by myself, and I was in college full time. So I really needed a car. So I had good credit, so I got enough to put a down payment on a minivan, so I could, But that was the only time I ever took advantage of that. But I guarantee that there's others that are just doing it every time, so they have walking around money, and
sure they do.
Buy that new iPhone every year, things like that.
Yeah,
I need my Starbucks pumpkin spice. Oh my god!
I got a double latte, half calf, no oat, half soy.
I don't know how they remember all that shit.
I can't. I have no idea. When you go in and listen to some of these people order coffee, you're like, the bigger the order and the more that they use and stuff like that, the bigger the asshole. I'm sorry, just going to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Half calf. I love that movie where the guy says, "I'll have a large coffee." You mean a venti? No, a large. A venti. Venti means large. No, venti means 20. You're wrong in 3 languages. It's ridiculous.
Do you remember the Dennis Leary bit?
Which one was that?
It did this about, I think it was in his show called Lock and Load. He did this bit about coffee, and he's like, when's the last time you had flavored coffee? And he said, his mom said, "Wake up and smell the coffee." He said, "Mom, I did. It smelled like fucking waffles."
Yeah, well, yeah. Now there's all, oh my god, hazelnut and peppermint spice and pumpkins. Yep. Oh my god, it's pumpkin spice time. Oh, everything's pumpkin.
Puke.
Jesus Christ.
Well, let's see what's in this bill.
The entire country would revolt. The most expensive bill in American history, $4.3 trillion. When we built the interstate highway system, this is 8 times the cost of that. They want $400 billion for government daycare. That's right. Hundreds of billions for federally funded babysitters, literally cradle to the grave. Billions in subsidies to stay home instead of work and give unions total control of the economy. Largest tax increase in American history, $2 trillion. Higher business taxes than socialist Europe and even communist China. Taxes passed down to consumers with higher prices, fueling more massive inflation, bringing us back to the Carter years. $50 billion in death taxes. Makes you pay more taxes after you die, so your family doesn't get as much. $80 billion tax hike on small businesses, which just got slaughtered during the pandemic. Taxes on energy, taxes on employers, and if you smoke cigarettes, the cost of a pack just went way up. Big time tobacco taxes here. Doubles the number of IRS agents, and none are going to be allowed to look at Hunter Biden, just at the rest of us. Lets IRS agents spy on your bank account if you have a balance of over $600, which is pretty much everybody. This is the Green New Deal that most Democrats didn't want to touch because it was too politically toxic. So they just hid everything in this thing. $7 billion for the Green New Deal climate police.
Fucking climate police.
In Green New Deal slush funds to indoctrinate college students. $2 billion for green job training. Now, remember, Obama already tried this and he couldn't point to a single green job he created. This blocks American energy exploration, which increases our dependence on the Middle East and Russia. $27 billion for a green bank. We're getting ripped off, guys. This is where donors go for cheap loans. It's that simple. Forces Americans to use wind and solar in places where it isn't very sunny or windy. California already did this, and it caused rolling blackouts. Billions in kickbacks for green donors and activists. $25 million for butterflies. $25 million for desert fish. I didn't even know they had fish in the desert. And $25 million for mussels. A $4 billion slush fund.
There's jump cuts. I cut out some of his commentary.
Racist infrastructure. It makes crossing the border much easier, makes it harder to deport illegals, and spends $100 billion to give amnesty to 10 million illegals.
Gotta love it.
College tuition for illegals, free tax credits, and welfare for illegals. $500 million for, ready? Culturally appropriate school lunches. What does that mean? Taco Tuesdays? $7 billion for Ivy League schools, the wealthiest schools in the country. $250 billion to bail out health insurance companies. Didn't we just give those guys $1 trillion last year during the pandemic? They need more money. Free housing for convicted felons. Beat your wife, here's some rent money. Penalizes getting married, keeps single mothers stuck on subsidies, and includes taxpayer-funded abortions. Grants to treat people for loneliness. I'm not paying for someone to find dates. There's an app for that.
This bill requires healthcare providers to be trained in equity, which is code word for critical race theory. There's
You like that, don't
here
you,
on
John?
American energy. There's
Jesus
tax hikes
Christ.
here
That's why I
on
left
American
it in.
manufactured goods. There's the death tax in here. There's a tax credit for rich people to give money to their favorite universities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I clipped it there because it was getting a little long, but
yeah. Well, see, again, nobody knows what's going. They will not put this. The only people that are putting this out is Fox. The mainstream media is not going over this.
Of course not.
People are too busy trying to make a living. The ones that are still working, and they're too busy to care. And where are we going with this? They're basically trying to destroy this country from the inside out. Nobody's going to make me change my mind and tell me they're not trying to destroy this country from the inside out. And nobody's trying to stop them. And then when it all falls the fuck apart, everybody's going to be sitting around with their pumpkin spice latte going, well, what happened? What's going on here? And then it's too late. Douchebags. Just douchebags. And it started, what, 20, 25, 30 years ago? It started in the colleges, and we were like, these college kids are idiots. And why are we? And they're like, hey, you know what? That's college. And when they get out, there'll be no big deal. They'll go to work, and then they'll grow up, and then they'll realize what's going on. But they didn't. They went into jobs, and then they took that same mentality that they learned, that woke bullshit equity that they learned in college, and now they're running businesses with it or trying to shut down businesses. You saw what's going on with Netflix and Chappelle, and then CNN and Rogan. If you say anything,
I've got a lot on that.
Let's get into it. Which one do you want to do first? Rogan, CNN? Because that interview that he did with Sanjay Gupta was amazing. And I'll tell you what, Joe Rogan is an amazing interviewer, and he would not stop. Like, he would not let up. He would not give Gupta any kind of...
I've got the MP3 here of the meeting, of him kind of getting into Gupta's shit on his show. This was last Thursday morning, I think, when this came out.
Possibly, yeah.
It's not a flattering thing. I get that.
It's a lie. It's a lie on a news network, and it's a lie that's a willing. That's a lie that they're conscious of. It's not a mistake.
Yeah.
They're unfavorably framing it as veterinary medicine.
Well, the FDA put this thing out. You saw that. Did you see that thing that the FDA put out?
What did the FDA put out?
It was a tweet, and it was snarky.
That's not a thing. That's a tweet.
You are not a horse. You are not a cow. Stop taking this stuff, or something like that.
Why would you say that when you're talking about a drug that's been given out to billions and billions of people, a drug that was responsible for one of the inventors of it making the Nobel Prize in 2015?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
a drug that has been shown to stop viral replication in vitro. You know that, right? Why would they lie and say that's horse dewormer? I can afford people medicine, motherfucker. This is ridiculous.
Absolutely.
It's just a lie.
I don't think anyone is thick.
But don't you think that a lie like that is dangerous on a news network when you know that they know they're lying? You know that they know that I took medicine. Like, here it is. This is ivermectin.
You got it with
right
you.
here.
You've got it right there. Wow.
All right, hang on. The thing is, we're like going so fast. Like, I feel like I'm missing.
Do you think that's a problem?
You hear him trying to like backpedal a little bit, like, "Whoa, hey, wait, slow down, Rogan. Hey, man, come on."
He would keep saying he basically said that they should have not done that. He got Gupta to say that.
Yeah,
now,
he does. It's not over yet. I just paused it.
I know. Well, I mean, listen, that fucking interview was 3 hours long. I don't know how much of it you
got a
want
minute left.
All right, go ahead.
Your news network
was not,
lies.
Well, I don't.
Dude,
what did they say?
They lied and said I was taking horse dewormer. First of all, it was prescribed to me by a doctor.
Yeah.
Along
they
with
shouldn't have said
a
it was
bunch of other medications.
If you got a human pill, because there were people that were taking it, the veterinary medication, and you're not, obviously, you got it from a doctor, so that it shouldn't be called that. Ivermectin can be a very effective medication for parasitic disease, and as you say, it's probably, I think what, 250 million people have taken it around the world.
More,
I get that,
way more.
So
way more. Billions of people have taken it.
Can I just come back to the one I want to talk about? Two things on the ledger.
You have, before we get to that, does it bother you that the news network you work for out and out lied, just outright lied about me taking horse dewormer?
They shouldn't have said that.
Why did they do that?
I don't know.
You didn't ask? You didn't think that was you're the medical guy over there.
I didn't ask. I should have asked before.
But they
coming
did
on
it.
You're the medical guy over there. Exactly. You're the medical guy.
Right.
That's what you get paid for. How do you ignore that?
Dino says that he needs to be president.
Yeah.
Hey, Dino, when you can spell president, maybe we'll vote for you.
He typed it too early. He pressed send too early. He's probably on a phone. Well, I agree with Gupta that ivermectin is an anti-parasitic medication. Parasites don't like ivermectin.
Here's the deal.
Matter of fact.
And this was the one thing that because listen, I've been a big fan of ivermectin. And I said, this is, it's also an antiviral because it's working on virus. And what they do is, and I know this for a fact because I used ivermectin on my hunting dogs to prevent horsewormer, and you dose it per weight of the dog. All right. So the same thing happens when you're going to use this as an antiviral. They have to give you such a high dose of it that and this is the first time I heard anybody explain this. And this is the problem with the media today, that all they have to do is explain it. And I'd be like, okay, you can't use it for that. They're saying that the dose that they have to give you to make it antiviral is a lot. And it can also cause other problems. Right. So I'm not saying it doesn't help, and it doesn't help in the replication. But in other words, if you're a large person, the amount that you would have to take to make it even close to antiviral could actually hurt you. And that's the first time I've ever heard anybody say that. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Well, as I was trying to say, parasites hate ivermectin. And here's a few that do. These parasites here hate ivermectin.
Yeah, well, of course. Listen, I said this to Mar. If they found out one drug that would actually stop COVID or would prevent it or would make the symptoms where you wouldn't die from it, unless you had like a bunch of comorbidities, they would take that and take it off the market immediately. For what reason, I have no idea. And the only reason that I can say is why they would do this is because they want to kill off a bunch of the population and the older population, the basic eaters that are not, that are on pensions and that are on Social Security and stuff like that. They're the ones they want to get rid of. In my humble opinion.
Well,
and they're pushing this vaccine too. And the people that are not taking it are, again, they think it's all these Trump supporters that aren't taking the vaccine. That's not true. A huge population of the Black community are also not taking this vaccine. And they're doing a lot of, I guess, public relations, would you call it, where they would, they make commercials to, basically to the Black community to try to get them to be less vaccine hesitant. And I have one right here for you.
I told you I want my money, woman. Hi, I'm a pimp. I don't have the energy to disrespect my women if I'm disrespecting my body. Please, get the vaccine.
I think it really targets the audience.
This is just for those who don't know. This is just, and I'm not going to play the whole thing, but it maybe like a minute of it to give you an idea of how they did it.
Hogan just yesterday admitted to taking ivermectin.
Ivermectin is something more often used to deworm horses.
CNN is saying I'm taking horse dewormer.
Rogan telling his 13 million Instagram followers that he was treated with several drugs, and he included ivermectin on the list, a drug used for livestock.
Rogan said the word ivermectin. Yes, that's the deworming medicine made to kill parasites in farm animals.
Why would they lie and say that's horse dewormer?
So things are clearly bad, but they're being made even worse by people who have refused to take the vaccine and instead are swallowing horse paste.
Wait a second. He said that he got better because he ate cattle dewormer.
They must know that that's a lie.
You have individuals like Joe Rogan, for example, who don't want to take an experimental vaccine but will take horse dewormer.
So you get the idea there.
The cracker in the cowboy hat.
Yeah, I seen that. So this guy, Jimmy Dore, he found even a new way how they did him wrong.
They really did do that. They put a filter on Joe Rogan at CNN to make him look sick. They put a filter on him. I'll show you in the next slide. But they did that.
That's not true.
This is their news report at CNN. And I love that he's making Dr. Sanjay Gupta sit through one of their bullshit news reports.
Do you know that? I think.
So here's what they did.
And turns out I got COVID.
Here's how Joe Rogan really looks. That's what CNN did to him. They made it look like he was dead. That's how Joe Rogan looked. That's what CNN did.
I don't agree with that because he didn't look good. He didn't look good when I saw the Instagram video, and he didn't look good on the Instagram video. He looked very gray, like the top one. So I don't know. To be honest with you, I call bullshit on that right there, Jimmy, whatever your name is.
I know when I had it, the last thing I wanted to do was make a video of anything.
I get that, but he was also 3 days in the everything. They threw the kitchen sink at it.
Right.
And when I saw him, I said, wow, he looks really gray. You know, when I saw the video on Instagram. And to be honest with you, I think they might have colored the bottom one to make the top one look bad. I'm not going to go into this now, but I mean, if you can go to Instagram, go to Joe Rogan Instagram, it's still there, and take a look at it. He looks gray. Oh, this fucking asshole. This guy, this George Costanza CNN piece of shit.
So on the top, Joe Rogan says, I've been drinking lots of water. And at the bottom, it's, of course, this isn't real, but it's a laugh. Joe Rogan promotes ingesting liquid commonly used as engine coolant.
Right. It's also used as a horse dewormer.
That is kind of what they did with the ivermectin thing.
What's his name? Brian Stelter. That's it, Brian Stelter. I couldn't remember his name one day, Brian Stelter. So I went to Google and I typed in fat bald guy on CNN. Boom. Top one. Brian Stelter. Go right now.
They call him on Google. They call him Brian Seltzer Water or something like that.
Right. Go to Google right now and then type in fat bald guy on CNN and tell me he don't pop right up first thing.
Wow.
Who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares?
You know, they're I don't know if this was in the UK or if this was in Australia, but I found it quite interesting. I guess you have to wear a mask even outside, unless you're like eating or drinking. So check this one out.
Us, myself included, I work out.
If you just mind if I check if there's actually anything in that?
Oh, yeah, there's coffee in there. Enjoy your coffee. Thank you.
He's not wearing a mask.
That's in Australia. That's in Australia. Because in Australia, they are just being 100% tyrannical over this shit. So in other words, people are carrying coffee cups around so they don't have to wear a mask because they say they're drinking their coffee. Now the cops are checking to see if there's any coffee in your coffee cup.
In your cup. What if you're done with it? Well, I guess you have to put your mask back up.
Put your mask back up. That's all.
What if you're dipping? What if you dip and you have to spit?
Come on. I hate
you
that.
have to wear your mask in between spits.
Ugh, that whole spit thing. I'll tell you what. You know what? I'm all for banning all chewing tobacco. It's just disgusting. The whole thing. It's the dip and the spitting and the spit jar. Jesus Christ. I mean, God damn it. It is disgusting. I can't watch when someone's got a thing in their lip and all they're talking, you just feel like smacking it right out of their mouth. And I know Uncle Randy Married AF. I know he's a big chewer, but oof, god damn, is that stuff disgusting.
So I know some people who aren't working right now, and they take advantage of the kindness of others. I'm not going to say who it is because I don't.
Well, if you did, we wouldn't know him anyhow.
Right, but if they listen to this, then I'm gonna catch shit. But they take advantage of the kindness of others in the form of handouts labeled as help.
Right, they're freeloaders.
And there's no reason they can't work, no reason they can't handle their own household and problems. And when I say something like, you just got to get out there and make it happen, count your blessings, think of what you do have going for you and capitalize on that. I get, well, I'm working through it mentally and I hope someday blah, 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 fucking blah. Well, then there's this guy. I see a video of this guy and I'm like, this is what I was talking about. This guy's legs don't work. Climbs out of his truck, gets in a wheelchair, lowers the gate on his landscape trailer, rolls up there, climbs into his zero-turn lawnmower. I'm not a fan of the music.
And there he goes.
And he's mowing lawns, making money. Now, who do you think has more of a right to say that, they can't work? This guy or somebody who's in perfect health? They're just not, they're like taking it, they're, I'm depressed.
Wow. I got to tell you.
Look at it. Look, man, he's blowing.
That's amazing.
Blowing off the cars to what he can reach of them.
Right.
I think he's already, weed eated and whatnot. So.
Hey, God bless that guy. But I mean, how can he make as much? I mean, how can he charge? I don't know. To me, it seems like he can't charge enough for how much time it takes him to do a yard. But whatever. And then he's got I don't know, dude. If he climbs up in the truck, how's he get the wheelchair back up in the truck?
Same way he got it out.
I don't know. I mean, I have to watch the whole thing. It's amazing to watch people do that.
He had somebody with a camera there. I'm sure they
right. I mean, I'm sure if he had a helper, it would help him, put stuff in and out of the truck, and he could run a crew like that. Of course he could. And you're right. They're people that, even though they've been dealt for whatever reason, I don't know what, maybe dove into a shallow pool when he was younger or whatever. I don't know, but he doesn't have use of his legs. And, he's still making the best of it. He's still doing something that he can do. So I think that's fantastic. That's, and then what you're talking about is your basic Starbucks soy boys that are, they've been raised where, masculinity is toxic. And I got something here that, nobody wants these non-toxic soy boys anymore.
So the Los Angeles Times reported that traditional masculinity is officially labeled harmful by the American Psychological Association. And this is absolute crap. What happened to real men? What happened to men who were the heads of the household back in the 50s and the 60s? Us women are sick of it. We're tired of seeing these beta males walking around acting so sensitive towards everything. It's ridiculous. Traditional masculinity needs to come back. It is not harmful. Real women like real men. Our generation is pathetic.
There you go.
Are you talking about somebody, God bless, somebody like this? You've already seen this one, but.
Yeah, that right there. That is, I can't even tell what that is.
Got on a binky and a pink shirt that says, respect my pronouns or yours will be was, were.
Was, were. Listen, I have a passy in because I need a safe space. That is, I can't tell if that's a man or a woman. I really can't.
Evan would look like if he shaved.
Yeah. Maybe.
A little more Mexican. Yeah.
Right. But this is exactly what they're talking about. And they don't care. I don't know. Dude, we're going to hell in a hand. I'm just here for the ride. Just want to see if I don't know. Just run towards the Flash. That's what I say.
Run towards it.
Yeah, run towards it.
You mean like the flash from the Chinese?
From the Chinese nuclear bomb that's going to go off.
Well, you've seen that, right? Where they launched some kind of a rocket thing that went around the globe like 3 times.
Supersonic?
You didn't see it?
No, because
it's capable of like delivering nuclear.
Dude, right now there's so many ships sitting off the shore of California that came from China. All they had to do 18 seconds. It would take 18 seconds for them to launch a nuclear missile to completely destroy the west coast of this country.
Hypersonic
missile. Yeah, everybody's making a race to hypersonic. Hypersonic missiles is the new nuclear missiles. And China did one already because the United States was trying to make that happen too.
So this is an article. China tests new space capability with hypersonic missile. The launch in August of nuclear-capable rocket that circled the globe took U.S. intelligence by surprise. Well, yeah, because they were more concerned about making sure that everybody in the military,
white rage,
they were read up on being inclusive of
equity. And this is what happens when you put equity in. When you just put everybody's got to be equal. Not everybody's equal. There's the top 10%, there's the bottom 10% in the middle. That you want working on this shit, and who you want in the military? You want the top 10% of bad motherfuckers in the military that know how to fight. That's what you want. You don't give a shit about inclusion. The military has basically taken racism out of it back in the 60s and 70s. After World War II, the military was the most inclusive organization in the United States. They didn't care if they were black, Hispanic, white, didn't matter.
Dumb enough.
Right. That's, but now they're trying to take and make it where it is all about race again. It's ridiculous.
This says that the missile missed its target by about 24 miles. I don't know why they don't just say 24. According to 3 people briefed on the intelligence, but 2 said the test showed that China had made astounding progress on hypersonic weapons and was far more advanced than U.S. officials realized.
That's not good news, my friend.
Well, I mean, if you ask me, that's just how everything from China functions. It almost makes it, but then again, it doesn't.
Well, listen, back in the 70s and, the 80s, when you found something that was made in China, it was supposed to be cheap. Didn't last long. Now, it's the only thing there is because they don't make it in the United States anymore. Everything's made over there. So,
except the vaccine.
Well, I don't know. That'll be, we don't have enough.
If it was made over there, nobody would take it.
Well, they do have vaccines. They do have Chinese vaccines.
Yes, they have their own.
They have their own.
Yeah, and they do sell to some other countries who are, desperate
can't afford
to buy it.
Right, they can't afford the good stuff. Dude, this whole thing has been rolled out. The vaccine has been rolled out ridiculously. The way they give it, the way they take it out and they leave it out. It's supposed to be cold. Everything that they do, no wonder we're having problems with it lasting as long as it's supposed to last. I'm sorry. What do we have asshole Fauci up here for? Now, what's he doing?
Very, very efficacious.
So now we have 2 vaccines that are really quite effective. The mRNA vaccine, highly effective, extraordinarily.
I'm going to kind of cruise through this once it gets into it.
To 95% for mild to moderate disease and virtually 100% efficacious, because the real world effectiveness is even more impressive than the results of the clinical trial.
It's impressive. So this is just like clips of various headlines saying things like vaccines are safe and effective against Delta. You might not know that from the media fear-mongering. And they just go through a whole bunch of them that say the same thing.
Again, I go back to the point where, Pfizer buys so much ads on news agencies, CNN, Fox News and all that. They're not going to say anything bad about Pfizer.
Well, they buy, I mean, It's why you won't see a negative word about China in the New York Times, because they buy full page ads for nothing on a daily basis. But so this kind of goes through, the beginning here. COVID vaccine found highly effective in real world U.S. study, and they just keep doing that stuff. All right. Sorry, I bumped my mouse. All the good stuff. It's highly, highly effective. 100% effective in teens.
It was, listen, numbers were dropping like rocks when, in New Jersey, we were down to 200 cases a day.
100% effective for people this age. Here we go. Let's go. Keep going.
Dead.
Keep going as the news cycle ages. All of them are kicking ass. 99% now. 99, 98, 97, 96.7, 89.
89.
Oh, uh-oh. Oh, no, this is going the wrong direction. I'm going to turn the music down just a little bit.
It's like, in other words, it's dropping. And everybody knows this.
81, 80, 79, 78, 77, 76, 75, 74, 73, 72, 71. Like, they found all the numbers. I don't know how they did this.
Right.
Keeps going. And we'll fast forward
down
a
to
little bit. 33% now. We're at 33%.
20%.
Need to kill that damn music. And then, we'll see. Everything's approved here. Everybody's getting approved. Oh, wait.
Highly effective.
Highly effective. Notice the market there. There's stock prices going up.
Right.
And the music.
Highly effective.
Yep. COVID vaccine profits mint 9 new pharma
billionaires.
Yeah, let's see. As COVID vaccines drive record profits, CEOs get ultra rich off massive pay packages, questionable stock sales.
Yeah, they don't care. They're just
I'm just randomly like pausing this and just reading stuff. It's insane. It's insane.
Being sold a bill of goods, Bob. You don't know who to
all
believe.
About saving lives, John.
Well, like Rogan said, how dangerous is it that CNN openly lies and knowingly lies about things? How do they have any credibility? They don't. And that's why the mainstream media is having issues.
Cheering on your team, living the dream.
You ought to be vaccinated.
I know. Like right now, they're talking about the third shot. And people are out getting the third shot. They're all running out to get the third shot.
They've had a pretty decent response the last couple of weeks for that. Yeah, I think they've done like something like 3 or 4 million. So, and I think that there are some people that they need it. So
I understand that, but they weren't even given it correctly. In other words, you were supposed to push in, put the needle in and pull back to see if you got any blood. If you got blood, you had to take it out and put it somewhere else. You didn't want it to get into the bloodstream. You didn't want to hit a vein or anything in a capillary in the muscle. It's supposed to pull it back. It was supposed to stay in the muscle. And
well, you heard about I don't know if it was one of the producers at the No Agenda, but they were saying that they've actually witnessed them pull a shot out of a vial, with a needle, and wasn't enough in that vial. So they would just pop another vial and pull out of that one and mix the two vials. Basically, they would pull part of the shot from one vial and not have enough, like I said. So they grab another, kind of like you.
Sure. But if it's the same vaccine, what's the difference?
Well, there's different lot numbers. You're not supposed to do that. That's kind of a medical no-no.
In Canada, they're giving you, if you got the first shot, it was Pfizer, and they don't have any other Pfizers, the second shot you get's Moderna. They're doing that. So,
well, yeah, they're saying now you can just mix them all up.
Yeah. Well, they don't want you to mix the Johnson and Johnson.
Well, because they didn't pay off enough politicians.
Well, it's made from different stuff. Like, in other words,
I meant they didn't submit the right paperwork or something. I don't know. I'm an idiot. I'm just a painter. What do I know?
Yeah, I know. All righty. Well, welcome to your Monday. Welcome to your Monday. Get out there and make some money, because you know what? The government needs more of your money, ladies and gentlemen. So you better get out there and start working. Listen, I might be an idiot, but if you get people to stop working, where are you going to collect these taxes from? If people don't work, they don't pay taxes. Where's this money going to come from? So don't get me wrong. I'm all for, a fair labor force. I mean, John Deere right now, they're going on strike because people were getting laid off during the pandemic. Meanwhile, profits are up. The president of the company, his salary went up 100%, over 100%. And they're like, hey guys, how about, what about that trickle down shit? Doesn't seem to be a trickle down. It doesn't seem to be trickling down too much. So they're on strike. It's a shit show. Like I always say, I miss me some mean tweets and cheap gas. Here's our dog. All right, everyone. We got a dad joke to end this thing.
I named that dog.
What's the dog's name? Yakety Yak?
Ralph.
Ralph. That's a great name for the dog. Absolutely great name for the dog.
There we go.
All right.
No dad joke. Just naming that dog Ralph. There's the dad joke.
I had
funny anymore. I don't care.
Let me see if I can do I had a nursery rhyme. Jack and Jill went up the hill.
Both with $1.25. Joke came done with $2.50. Oh!
It was like Jack and Jill went up the hill. Jack got a handful of cock and found out that Jill was Randy.
Why you got to be so rude?
I don't know. That was it. But I can't remember jokes anymore, Bob. I'm telling you what, I'm 5 years away from not being able to do this at all anymore. 5 years, 2 years.
I'm working on it.
All righty. We'll be back Wednesday night, 9:00 Eastern, 8:00 Central.
Which night?
Wednesday night.
Wednesday? I thought we were are you worried about Thursday night football?
No, you just said you wouldn't like to watch Thursday night football, so I thought we were going to go to do Mondays.
I didn't want to interrupt last week's because, the Eagles were going to get beat.
Yeah, it's true, but they're not.
It's up to you, man. Whatever night.
Well, then I said let's do Wednesday night. That way we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I can do. After today, I can go back to. Well, today's already happening. I can do mornings too. It doesn't matter. I have a kind of a light week this week on work. So.
Oh, okay. So you want to come back again tomorrow morning?
We can.
Let's do tomorrow morning. Joke. You got a dad joke? All right, end us with a dad joke.
I asked my wife when her birthday was. She said March 1st. So I walked around the room and asked her again.
There you go. That is a good dad joke. All right, we'll be back here tomorrow morning. Bob's got a light week.
Maybe.
See ya.